Morning, 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 everyone. This is Trend Follow this side, and it's that time of the week. Let's do this. So, in this video, we'll look at some of the zones, some of the ideas, some of the thoughts I have around this week. Maybe share some of the thought process that I have around this week too. So, again, last week was, I have been saying last week and especially this week can be tough, but more importantly, we still made money. I think some of the ideas shared on the video made sense, but then apart from that, I do share things on Twitter also. As much as I try to give everything in this video, it's kind of impossible because the price action can be the other way during the week, right? Or something new comes in the price action. So, and before I start the video, what we'll do is there was one follower who asked, "How do you make these zones?" Huh? So I think, of course, I did say that yeah, I will make a whole video on it, but all those things takes time, and I think at least I can touch on it a little bit, right? So I just wanted to quickly touch on it so that it made even this video make sense. So the main core is supply and demand. So in that, what I do is like what I try to find are consolidations and explosions, right? Like, for example, let's say there's a big candle. So we are going through an example of demand of like which is coming down. Then you have two, three small candle, two, three, one, whatever, right? Small candles. And then there's a big explosion upside, right? So then what I will consider is this is the demand, right? So next time a price comes here, I would expect something like that. I hope that made sense. Okay. Now the now there are uh, some other points here, right? So for example, let's say this is the move up, but let's say before coming here, we had some action like this. So a down move, then an up move, then a down move, then an up move. Let's say. So in that case, this would be the demand and this would be the demand. So when something like this happens, which is like zone on zone, I use the lower one. Okay. So that's the other point. And the last point is, let's say if it's multiple consolidation candle and then explosion up, I typically would not like this would be my low priority because lot of consolidation, so the quality of demand is less. Okay. So you can inverse the same logic on for supply. The other thing I would mention is fresh and non-fresh. So let's say we get this demand, right? And then I take this, it goes up. Okay, maybe I'll take it again because it's fresh. I mean, it just touched a little, but let's say it would have gone deeper, and there's a bounce. Then when it will come back, most probably I will not take it. Okay, so something to keep in mind: fresh versus non-fresh. Now, one thing I will also mention is all this mostly will not matter if you are against the trend. Uh, so that's the last thing I wanted to mention. So when you inverse this, this is like supply and demand, and that's how I trade, right? All right. So I am trying if I can. Yeah, here. Okay. So let's look at this week's plan then. Okay. So first thing foremost, some context again. I do think last week was a little bit of manipulation going against the trend, and that's where some part of the market, at least for swing trading, was slow, right? This week would be, I think, more manipulation. I think mostly, I feel there would be reversals more than anything. So my focus would not be so much to play reversals. Instead, if the price action happens, I will then start playing it. But the point which I'm trying to mention here is that I think USD, which is showing strength, doesn't have any more legs as such. And I think JPY, which is showing strength, doesn't have legs as such. So we'll start with DXY. So with DXY, if you let me change this to let me move this here into yeah, and let me change this to weekly. So in DXY, what we are seeing is uh, we have an up close, then we have an up close, but now we are in this weekly zone, so we it can go down, right? Having said that, I can imagine that it goes here as drawn liquidity. That is one technique, when one possibility. I just feel the probability of that happening is low, and I have my reasons to say it, right? So, what do I mean by this, right? So, I'm not saying I will just trade short here. I need some clear confirmation, but I really do think it's not going there. I really do think, and you have to support your probabilities or your opinion using other charts, right? So that's what I will do now. So bear with me a little, right? We are in this weekly zone, and I think maximum, I think within this weekly zone, there's this daily zone. I think maximum it can come here again, maybe break this high. I doubt it, but that is a possibility, and then go down. Now, you may ask me, how are you this confident about it? So, I'm not saying in terms of confidence, I'm saying in terms of probabilities, okay? So, bear with me, and this would be a quick one because there's so many charts, right? So, I'll quickly go through it. You can pause the video, uh, you can slow down the video, but look at it, understand on your own time. But this will make sense when I go through it. So all these feature chart are dependent on DXY also, right? So let's look at odd Australian dollar. So let me open the pen. So bouncing from this weekly level, bouncing from this daily level, good. Uh, New Zealand bouncing from this weekly level, at least it will bounce like this. It can do this or it can do this. I think this is definitely happening. So I will bet on that. So again, bouncing from the weekly level. Then GBP, there's a weekly demand here, took a monthly liquidity here. So maybe a little more leg down, but then going up. Lot of liquidity here, lot of liquidity here. E, a lot of liquidity here. If I show you Euro USD chart, it will make more sense. But liquidity here, bouncing from this weekly level, so it can do this, right? Or at least, as mentioned before, it can do this, it can do this. So I'm betting on this. JPY, we just talked about zone on top of zone. So this would be weekly level here, weekly level here. This is the zone on top of zone, so I think this is happening. Then CHF again, weekly level here, not the body, but maybe it goes little further down. Maybe I wouldn't say that is extreme possible because CHF has been the strongest. So I believe little pullback and then go up. All right, so I showed all the charts, and what do you see? The same notion, right? You're telling me everything is in weekly zones and they will continue going down. Tough to say that, right? Like low probable move, even if it happens. So I would just say that can it be possible? Yes. No one controls the market. Uh, but plan-wise, is that a high probability move? I don't think so. If it happens, let's say if it happens, the slight chance it happens. Dude, I'm gonna short the hell out of this when it if it takes this, right? So because if it comes here, I will short the hell out of this, right? It would be my big trade, every account, personal account, everything, right? That's the way I would do it. Uh, yeah, so that's DXY for you. Okay, and that's my thought process on DXY and overall market. Now the question is, which trades are you thinking about, right? So what I'm thinking is, so let me go into this again. Let's go into CHF, but bear with me again, okay? But this time our main focus would be on daily chart. So on daily, you have this supply where I think it can, if it happens within a day or two, it can go up and go down. NZDCHF equal highs, which is also this week high, and there is a fair value gap, go up and go down. CADCHF, again, no wick, weekly level. I think this one is no, this one, just a second. Yeah, this one is a weekly level. If it touches this, you will also enter the weekly fair value gap. So more sure with this or this, right? USDCHF, again, as I showed you, I think a little more up move. This one can go further up like here and then go down. What I would love to see is SMT between CADCHF and USDCHF. Now you may ask, what is SMT? So what I would expect is something like USDCHF makes a higher high here, breaks this, but CADCHF doesn't. It's another way to say that I want CADCHF to be relatively weak than USDCHF. Let's look at AUDCHF. Again, should have bounced from here, didn't. Equal highs. So I think there is a supply here. I think it's 8 hour. Oh, 8 hour is beautiful there. But lot of candles. But I think I saw, yeah, this here, right? This supply is here. So I think something like this can happen. It's a low probable, this one. Because why is it low probability, guys? So many candles of consolidation then went down. This is not a clean one, I would say, but if everything is going down, this has to go down. So I showed multiple charts with the same logic. The reason I did that is to show you that I think there is a maybe a possibility of bounce on CHF, but then things should go down. The CHF should show strength. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Now we'll go through JPY. So again, the reason to show JPY is why I think this doesn't have legs anymore as such. Of course, a little bit is there, maybe, but more importantly, not more than that. So weekly level, again, if you remember, so this is a zone, this is a zone, right? So this is zone on zone, and we are reaching there, right? GBPJPY, we are reaching this whole weekly fair value gap. It has almost tested it, but if you look at monthly, then there's this area also where it can come. I would not say it cannot. EURJPY has reached almost the peak, hasn't reacted the way till now, but I again don't think it has much space left. So something to note here. And within weekly, it is in that zone. It's weekly candles, guys. It's weekly chart. So if it's weekly chart, what do you think will happen? It can take 1 to 2 weeks. So I do think this week or next week there may be a weakening candle. So the reason to show this was also to point out that how I think JPY has also weakness is done and it can show strength. How I think CHF can show strength. Now logically, if JPY shows strength, CHF should show strength too, right? So that's why I think there is not much left in terms of JPY strength and DXY strength. Now, if you ask me which one are your favorite, I would put GBPCHF and NZDCHF at the top of my list, maybe CADCHF. The reason of CADCHF is also of other names, how CAD has beautiful supply or demand depending on the name. So let's go further. So AUDUSD, the reason I like this, I already explained this, is because on 8 hour, this is a very simple clean chart. Like on 8 hour, 12 hour, there's a demand here, it can do something like this. The interesting part of this one is also that this bounce is coming from a daily demand, which was from a weekly zone. So this bounce can be legit, right? So if there's a pullback, can it break this low? Yeah, sure. Is it highly probable? No. So like I would suggest like take half of this as entry, stop loss here, target here. Look at this clear drawn liquidity. I think it can come back here or minimum here, right? So that's what I think on AUDUSD. Similarly, AUDCAD. In AUDCAD, again, same logic is happening. What is important in AUDCAD is if you look at NZDCAD, it took monthly liquidity, so AUDCAD acted strong and it can continue acting strong. So within this, there is a demand. And within that, there is a demand here. So there are two ways to play it. Either play again here, maybe it comes, maybe it doesn't. Ideally, it shouldn't, right? Or play here with stop loss here, and you are basically saying it should do this. There are equal highs also here. But the other way is if you want other way, there is a small demand here which you don't know it will hold or not. There's a demand here which you don't know it will hold or not. So when it will do this, cross this level, hold it here, then you can do what you can do is use this or use this zone and take stop loss here somewhere, right? So basically, I'm saying if it does this, use this zone and then something like this. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking on AutoCAD. Okay, NZDCAD, did I explain it? Okay, yeah, so in this also what is happening is there's a clean daily demand. This can go down and then go up. So if price action comes here before AutoCAD, because I just like AutoCAD more. One thing I would also show you, okay, these observations are crazy good, as mostly they work, I would say. It's good to know, how they prevented the closing below the low. Look at that, just end movement they prevented it. So there is something brewing there. GBPAUD, I wouldn't say I love it a lot, but if what I am trying to say here is there's a 4 hour supply here. So look at this, just one candle down. There's a 4 hour supply, which I will not trade this supply. Keep in mind. Why? Because the daily isn't there. The zone isn't matched by daily, mapped, covered by daily. So, but here it may start acting weak. When it takes this, it may start acting weak. I think that's where I would combine it with something else. For example, GBPCHF, right? So that's the way I would think about it. Similarly, EURAUD, I will use that logic again. There is a supply here. I would let it come here and see if I can find some other name. You know, for example, it comes here, then I may just go and take long on AUDCAD, right? So that's the way I'm thinking. These are the zones I'm interested in. Again, as I said, guys, so just because these plans, like you have to keep in mind, I'm just pointing out the zones and some of the stories that I think can build during the week. Will it build? I don't know. Should I know? Not really. That's not my job. My job is to find the probabilities according to the market action and just trusting those probabilities because at last they are probabilities. Can I be wrong? Yes. And after years of trading, you learn being wrong is part of the game. I am not here to be right, right? But if I'm right, I want my risk management to make 2.53 up, right? So that's the way I think. All I would say is like, you should think like that too. I think it really helps. Otherwise, the pain of being wrong will eat you up. Anyway, guys, I guess this is it for this video. All I would say is like, if you're tired of hearing, right? I would say I try to explain everything. It's just isn't impossible for me right now. But I try at least to be active on Twitter, so follow me there. But apart from that, I hope this made sense. And if it didn't, it didn't. That's fine. You can always tell me to improve, but I can only improve if you tell me to improve. If you tell me where can I improve, and if you're tired of hearing this, Just bear with me because I will continue asking for feedback because that's what improves me. That's how I improve my trading, taking feedback from the market, right? So that's my thought process. I hope this helps. I hope you have a great trading week. All the best out there, guys.